bitchin'. Okay, couple of disclaimers. This is the first time I have ever tried to do this look. I want to do this for a Comic Con. Comic Con's like 6 months away. This is the first attempt. I'm aware it doesn't look very good. This is just for this video because it was the easiest, quickest thing in my wardrobe that I could do. Hello everyone! I finished Stranger Things season 2. I know it came out over a month ago now, but I watched it with my cousin and we had to kind of find time to meet and have the time to watch the episodes, so I couldn't just binge it even though I really, really wanted to. I watched Stranger Things last year when season 1 came out and I enjoyed it and I was like, that was good. Okay, that was it. Once it was done, that was it for me. And then I started watching season 2 and I am actually obsessed. I have lots of thoughts and feelings and I've been tweeting about them. Everyone's been saying please do like a whole video about it. I've had so many requests to do a video on Stranger Things, a video on Love, Simon and a video on Infinity War, and I'm so behind on videos that they probably will be coming, but just after the films are out probably. So I'm really, really, really excited to talk about season 2 with you guys. I loved it so much. I preferred it to season 1, which I know either people really agree with me or they very heavily disagree with that statement, but I preferred it to season 1. I loved it. I loved how much more in-depth the season got, how much more of the characters we saw, the new characters, and just there was so much more to it. I'm gonna get spoilery like after this, but now I'm gonna get into the spoiler section, so please don't carry on watching if you haven't finished Stranger Things season 2, because I don't want to spoil it for you. So if you haven't finished the season and you don't want to be spoiled, please go away now. Hello spoilery people! Okay, so season 2 opened. I'm not necessarily going to talk about it in order, but I need to talk about that opening. Season 2 opened with the scene with Callie. It's our first introduction into Callie and I was so happy that they did this. Obviously 11 is 11. Numbers don't start at 11. They start at 1. There are 10 other people that have been experimented on and looked at and, you know, in that lab or in some labs that have been there before 11, and I'm so glad that they gave us a little insight into one of them. The thing I found really interesting about Callie is she had a completely different mindset on how to deal with her powers and how to deal with what had happened to her. I loved episode 7. The soundtrack to episode 7 was banging. For one thing, like the Runaways, yes, Dead End Justice, that is one of my favourite songs of all time, and I really love seeing outside of Hawkins. I really liked seeing more of 11's journey. 11 really kind of facing her fears and really kind of exploring different areas, because at this point, like, she's been in this cabin for almost a year. She was out for a week and she met Mike and everyone, and then she's with Hopper and she doesn't really have a place which she considers home. But I really liked that kind of exploration of her finding these different places and going to these different places of what could be home, you know, with her mama, her Aunt Becky, and then with Callie and the rest of that gang, but then ultimately making that decision that no, home is with Hopper, it is with Mike and everyone there. And I liked seeing that because she definitely doesn't have anywhere which she would consider, you know, she's very confused, she's very young. Like, I think because of what she can do, people forget that she is a 12-year-old. She's 12 or she might be 13 in season 2. She's 13 in season 2. And I loved that episode in that aspect, but I didn't like that Callie was but Callie was a very big influence on her using her powers for negative things, and she kind of just let go with them. And I think Callie taught her some good things on how to channel her powers, which obviously helped. Near the end of the season, Callie was a bit older than 11. I feel like Callie's kind of not stuck, but like her mind is set on what she wants to do with her powers. Her mind is set on what she feels like she needs to do and that kind of thing, where 11 is still younger and 11 is still trying to figure out what is happening and what to do while she's in this world that's outside of this lab. I feel like 11 is still at that time where she can kind of, it's not too late for her to use what's happened to her but change things in a good way afterwards, if that makes any sense. But it was just interesting to see those two parallels between 11 being able to do that and being able to stop and not hurt that guy because she saw that he had a family, and that kind of having that different mindset compared to Callie, who has a completely different view on what she's doing. And that I really, really, really liked, and I really liked that we got to see a different like manifestation. Like, obviously Callie has a completely different power to 11, so then just really got me wondering what has 1 to 7 got, what has 9 and 10 got, what can they do, where are they even alive? And it's really, really got me thinking, and I'm really hoping that we see more of that. But that was really, really, really interesting. So let's talk about Hopper and 11. Okay, now Hopper in this season was brilliant. He, like, hands down was one of my favourite characters in season 2. I just loved his entire attitude. I don't know if, you know, like, you can tell that he's changed so much with taking in 11, and also he's just always there for Joyce. And I want them to get, like, if season 3 does not start with Jim and Joyce having breakfast with their 3 children, Jane, Will and Jonathan, I will fight the Duffer brothers. I'm joking. But seriously, like, he was just so, like, he was just there for Joyce the whole time, and their whole dynamic is incredible. I love that. After season 1, when he was leaving the Eggos, I didn't know why, like, what was his plan? Was he planning to talk to her? Was he planning to kind of take her somewhere? I know he wouldn't have taken her back to one of the labs. I know he wouldn't have taken her back to Brenner. But in season 1, Hopper obviously starts out not very well. He's not having a good time, completely understandably. As he sort of progresses, he kind of, you can see, I know we didn't know him before, but kind of we can see bits of himself there, like, kind of coming out and finding reason to do things again. So it was curious why he was putting these Eggo traps. And he's been, you know, like, teaching her, and she, you know, kind of raising her this past year and having her live there with him, and, you know, teaching her words, teaching her different things, giving her food, making sure that she's okay, she's safe. Even making the Eggo extravaganza, you know, that was not a Jim Hopper thing. In season 1, like, he would not have done that, and you could just see that difference. And I think that just how he is so good for 11 is really good for him. It was a very kind of unexpected pairing. Like, I wouldn't have put those two together in season 1, but it really, really, really works, and they have this dynamic which is really good that I really liked. And I was so happy at the end when she came back, and it was kind of, they have that relationship, and they're talking in the car when he tells her about Sarah, and kind of that he was just really scared that he was going to lose her as well at the end, when obviously he gets the paperwork which says that he has officially adopted her. And I was very happy. I feel like if there's a season 3, that dynamic is going to be explored even more. He's officially her dad now. I'm really glad that 11 has a father figure that is not Brenner, that's not gonna be bad, and that she can kind of see there is a positive father figure there for her. And also, thanks to, like, the entirety of Tumblr for pointing this out to me, but did you see when she went to the snowball, he put the ribbon on her wrist that he wears on his wrist that was Sarah's? Honestly, Hopper and 11's fight was incredible. Choreography, from what I've gathered from interviews, a lot of that was Millie and David's ideas, which were really good, because you can see that he's really trying to keep her safe. She doesn't know that. She is confused as to why she has to stay up there. She doesn't realise why he's doing it, why he's keeping her safe, which is why I loved their talk in the truck in episode 9. You know, she doesn't really know that. She just thinks he's keeping her hostage, which is the "you are like Papa" line, like, why that does ring true for her. And while kind of she sees similarities of just having to stay in one place, but then, like, he's so surprised by that, and, like, of course I'm not, but she doesn't know the difference. And that was just, I just feel like the lines in that scene, the choreography in that scene, their entire attitude really added a lot, and was very, very, very kind of like high tension, but really, really well done. Yeah, so let's talk about the main boys, Will, Mike, Dustin and Lucas. This was really interesting because immediately you could kind of see that their dynamic was different. Will is obviously, Joyce is being very protective of him, understandably. They're treating him differently. And Mike is very much missing 11. That's kind of his main focus. That's the main thing he's thinking about, is how much he misses her. He's making sure she's okay. He's checking on his supercom if she's okay. Dustin is kind of trying to bring everyone together, and, you know, it's not the same as it was. It's very different out of, you know, because of everything that happened. And I think they did that really well. Like, those kids are amazing actors. Like, I cannot believe the amount of kind of emotion they can show from just looks and just from attitudes and stuff. It's absolutely amazing. It was definitely something that you could see, and this dynamic had definitely changed. We got to see more of their home life. You know, we got to see Lucas in his home and his house, and honestly, his little sister Erica, she was hilarious. She was so funny. We got to see more of Dustin's mom and kind of his life at home and that kind of thing, and just a little bit more about them, and more about them individually as well. Like, there was lots of times where they would have different scenes on their own, or just with two of them, or that kind of thing, and that was really cool because it was interesting to see the different dynamics and how they worked. And I loved how they all came back together as well, like how at the end and in the lab they all managed to kind of join up again, and then you know that that's, like, you know, the big shit's about to go down. But other subplots as well. We saw Nancy and Jonathan. That was really clever. Like, I kind of had in my head, yes, they know they're listening, they want to kind of lure them to this park, but I didn't realise they were recording, and I thought that was really clever. That was a really good way to do that. I loved kind of that whole thing, and obviously they got together ish, like, are they officially together? I'm assuming kind of. And that was kind of, again, a completely different scene out of Hawkins and completely different to what we saw last time. And I feel like Nancy was really good in this episode. Like, she knew the whole thing with Barb was obviously completely unjustified, and she didn't want to see Barb's parents wasting their money and that kind of thing. And I just really feel like she took initiative there, and she was like, you know, she's thinking, even if I can't call them out for what actually happened, I'm gonna find a way to give her justice and to bring justice to the situation. And I really liked that she did that. Obviously, Will is this two-side, you know, he gets kind of possessed by this mind flayer. I was really worried it was going to be this proper exorcist thing, and it was kind of borderline when they tied him up and his voice was changing, and I was like, please don't go like full on, your voice changes, the power of Christ compels you, demon situation. But it didn't. I think they kind of treaded that line well, and it was done well. It wasn't like a cheesy exorcist situation. It was like, it actually was done really well, and it was really clever, and I liked that he was talking. Very convenient that Hopper has spent the last year very, very, very much knowing how to use Morse code. But yeah, so I liked the kind of how he was communicating to know he was still there. Noah's Schnapp is brilliant. How he had to switch between kind of being Will and then being Will kind of possessed. Some of it was so subtle as well, but it was really clever, and you always knew who was actually there, and it was really good. And it was kind of his interactions with Mike in those scenes were really good as well. Mike was very heavy in those scenes, and I feel like he was the right person to be there. He was, you know, if any of them were going to be with him, it made sense to be him. And that kind of whole dynamic was really clever, and Mike reassuring Will, and then kind of Will's attitude when he was Will, and then Will's attitude when he's being possessed and stuff, it was just done really, really well. I really, really loved that whole thing. Let's talk about Bob. I spent most of this show thinking that Bob was bad, because and I feel so bad. Like, I rewatched it because I just wanted to experience the wonder that is Bob the Brain without thinking that he was evil, because he kind of came out of nowhere and he was telling Will things, like that scene in the car when he's basically saying he got attacked by Pennywise. I know he doesn't say Pennywise, but it's Pennywise. I really loved that, like, that scene, and I was like watching it, I was like, he's being really dodgy, like he's telling him to do something and it's gonna like be bad. And then it was bad, and Will got possessed, and then I was like, oh, Bob's just coming out of nowhere. Why does he wanna be involved? What's going on? I just don't know. They just really loved Joyce, and then he died. And I was like, no. And I felt so bad because I started to like him, like that episode, and I was like, he's genuinely just being nice, and he's just a nice guy. And he brought the brain teasers, and then I was really upset when Mike was saying that he was the original founder of the AV Club, and I was like, Bob, I'm so sorry for betraying you this way. You did not deserve your fate. I felt so bad. Also, Dr. Owens, I don't know if I know he helped Hopper out at the end, but I still don't know if he's 100% legit, but obviously I'm not the best judge of characters, so oh. And in episode 7, they obviously go to the guy's house who was part of the whole thing with her mum, the electrocution, and that scene was really emotional because like she was right, and it was just she had no power to prove that she was right, and that was just really emotional. But obviously the guy was involved with doing that. They went to his house and they were going to kill him and stuff, and he starts saying that Brenna is alive. Now, I want to make a season 3 theories video, so I'm not going to get too much into Brenna, and I'm waiting until season 3 is 100% confirmed, then I will make that video. But Brenna, obviously Callie, when they go back, Callie makes 11 see him, and her reaction is very emotional, very, very, very intense. I just wasn't expecting him to be there and to hear his voice. I definitely think there's still something going on with him. Like, I feel like that does need to be touched upon. I don't think he's dead. I actually saw, I can't remember where I saw it, but I saw a thing online which says after season 1, one of the statements that you can see, it says Dr. Brenner, you know, suggesting that he didn't die after all. I do think he is still out there, and I do think that, you know, there is something going on with that. You know, Dr. Owens knows that something's going on. The fact that he tells Hopper to leave it a year, you know, he knows there's still stuff going on. It's still not quite right. There's still something there. Also, the new characters, we have Max and we have Billy, and Billy is absolutely psycho, like absolutely. But like it was really satisfying watching Max be the one to kind of get him necessarily, like at the end, kind of she got her own back really, That was really, really satisfying to watch. And Max, I liked Max. Obviously, we don't actually know that much about her from season 2. Like, you know, she's in kind of hanging around the party and she just wants to really be in it. I really do want to see more about her character. I want to learn more. I'm hoping that in season 3 kind of all of those differences are pushed aside and they are kind of all friends. You know, she really helped out. She really kind of stood her ground and fought, and that was really good. I really just enjoyed her character. I would like to see more of her. Hopefully, you know, in the party and friends with everyone. I think it would be really cool to see Max and 11, really good friendship. I did feel really sorry for Dustin in quite a lot of this. Like, Will's got his own thing going on, understandably. Mike is he just wants 11. Then there's Lucas and Max, and I felt really sorry for Dustin, and I feel like, you know, there was a lot to his character. He actually did so much this season that's kind of not spoken about. I mean, he probably shouldn't have kept Dart, you know, in his house when this thing's kind of growing, and I know he didn't know, but you know what I mean, stepping in front of them all when they're in the tunnels and talking to him and trying to kind of distract him and knowing that it would work and having faith in kind of himself and his abilities and how he could calm this literal demigorgon down. I just really loved that scene. I thought I said a lot about his character, especially kind of this season and kind of stepping up and doing that. And I really loved Steve Harrington in this season. I thought he was a bit of a douche in season 1, but I just really liked how they kind of did have that where they ended up coming together. I liked the little things, really. I liked that we got to see like more of Mr. Clark and the children's interactions. Him and Dustin's reactions are brilliant. I really loved that. I liked the little upgrades of things like going to the arcade instead of playing Dungeons and Dragons. The soundtrack was brilliant. I loved that soundtrack. Really clever. Them at the end playing Every Breath You Take. You think it's like this romantic dance song, and then it's like, I'll be watching you, and then this giant mind flayer just over the school. Brilliant. Camera angles, fantastic. Use of music, the fact they all dressed up as the Ghostbusters, the references were brilliant. The Ghostbusters thing was amazing, like the argument about who was going to be who and why and that kind of thing. Just little details that are not necessarily relevant to the entire plot, but really good and really just thrown in there and clever. I really enjoy the Duffer Brothers, how they put things in that are so simple, even just t-shirts that people are wearing, and even like the voting signs on the lawns, like which house would vote for who. Just the detail in this season was, I imagine they have a bigger budget, but it was just really good. And even like, did they need to use the Ghostbusters music for the end of the episode where they are dressed as Ghostbusters? Probably not, but they used some of their music budget to get permission to do so, and I appreciate that. Just little things like that were just really good, and it just really adds to it, and it's just good. Good in there. Just good stuff. And 11's powers have grown a lot. You know, she's using her hand a lot. She can do more things. Obviously, in the very last scene, closing the gate, she had so much blood going on. And she can do different things. She can do a bit more advanced things, kind of see where people are. That's a new thing. And I feel like that's something that's just going to only be developed in more time. I'm hoping she'll kind of learn how to control it and how to use it in different ways. That end scene, that was intense. That was brilliant. Kind of who was going to get out, what was going to happen, if they were going to get out of the tunnels, how 11 and Hopper were, Joyce, that whole scene with Nancy, Jonathan, Joyce and Will with trying to burn it out of him, that was very intense, very well done. Winona Ryder is honestly like the queen. Like, she is so good. Her whole performance is brilliant. She gives just the right amount in every scene, like whether it needs to be a lot or not as much. Like every expression, every line, every body movement she does is incredible, and she is absolutely brilliant. And that whole scene, she just did that so well. She was just like, she had no shits left to give. She was just like, I am getting this killed my boyfriend. I'm not letting it kill my son. I'm not letting it do this again. And she just went ham on that, and she just did it, and it was just so good. It was just so good to see. It was so intense. And obviously we have all the kids in the tunnels, and then we have Elle and Hopper, and that was like, that felt like a final boss in like a video game, like in like Uncharted and stuff like that, when they're in a lift and they're like shooting things out of the lift. That was like really intense. That would really stress me out if I had to play that level. So that's all I was thinking when I was saying it. The gate is closed, the mind flayer is out of it. I can't go back in because the gate's closed. It's gonna stay out. The end of season 1, kind of each person's, what was going to happen was kind of lined up. You know, like Hopper was putting the eggers down, Will coughed up the slug. You know, there were little hints to things. This was just, there's this massive presence of badness that's not a word, hanging over this town and this school and like this, you know, all these people, and you don't really know who it's going to get. I mean, the main ones, but like, you know, you don't know who it's going to get. It's going to be pissed at 11 because she's closed the gate. Snowball scene, I liked that it ended there. You know, it was, Mike mentioned it to 11 in season 1, and you know, it was kind of like a full circle of them arriving there. 11's reunion with everyone was really well done. They were like really scared. They were like, what is this? Like, what's going on? And then it's just, you see the shoes, you see bitch in 11, and that was just done really well. And like, not even necessarily her reunion with Mike, and I think that his little bit with Hopper was really good as well, because he'd been building with so much stuff, he'd been keeping so much in, he couldn't really talk about her to his parents or to anyone because no one could really speak about her. So that was a very big kind of outlet for Mike, and I liked that they included that and they gave him that thing to kind of get angry and cry, because he is just a kid. Like, these kids act a lot older than they are because they're very smart and, you know, kind of the nature of the show and what they have to deal with, but they are just kids dealing with lots of things, and that was a really good scene to see that. But yeah, her reunion with everyone, with Lucas and Dustin, and then her reunion with Joyce, and just with everyone, and kind of just seeing that. And even with Hopper, like, what is this? Where have you been? Where have you been? Like, everyone she reunited with, their reunions were so specifically tailored to those people, and it was so good. Her mum, that was really good. That whole bit of seeing her mum was really good, and like, her mum has the same ability to kind of communicate through those channels, so maybe that's where she got it from, and as she gets older it's kind of developing more. Her Aunt Becky, kind of seeing that these things are very realistic, like very real, and that Terry has not just gone insane, like she's genuinely telling the truth, and being able to talk to her and kind of making sense of what she's saying and what actually happened, and knowing that she was taken and what went down with that situation was really good. It was really creepy that when she was in the house and the lights started flickering, and then her mum was just in the chair, just like just there, and it was that, and she wasn't speaking. That was like really kind of, I was like scared more about that than the Demodogs, because I was like, okay. Speaking of Demodogs, I liked that it wasn't just the big Demogorgons. I liked that we got to see like a different variation of them, which was really cool. But obviously, like, we get to see kind of how they grow. The little thing will spit that up, but I'm assuming there was like, was that the one that ended up in Dustin's bin? Who knows? They kept a dead one in Joyce's fridge, and then there's like a month later afterwards. Where did they put it? Have we not learnt by now that we don't keep things from the upside down? That's not a good idea, is it? Really? Like, we don't do that. So yeah, so that's kind of everything I want to talk about. I feel like I'm missing something massive, and maybe I just like, I'm reading from my notes and this is everything, but maybe I'm just missing something. I don't know. Feels like I haven't covered everything. I'd love to know your thoughts on season 2 of Stranger Things. I really want to discuss this now I've seen it. We're going to have a discussion in the comments. If you are new here, then I make videos a couple of times a week. I don't always look like this. I mean, this is the first time I've looked like this. It's, you know, bitching. I need to stop saying that. I'm having too much fun with this. So if you want to stick around and join us, you can press the little bell and the subscribe button and stick around. And as usual, all my links will be in the description as well. If you want to come hang out on my other social medias, Run on the Road on everything, and my website is renontheroad.com. Thank you guys for watching. I hope we're doing really, 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 really well, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.